sure that no one is misled by this information. First of all, my name is Maurice Jefferson Scott Sr. And if you're going to do research on a Maurice Scott, make sure that you're researching the right.
Let's go back in time and dissect this from the beginning. Maurice and Kimmi were viewed as the mature couple on Love and Marriage Huntsville. They weren't out here arguing all the time. Maurice Scott is now openly pleading for Kimmi to return, but is this genuine regret or just damage control? Dragging each other before the cameras, at least not initially. They exuded a serene, mature energy, with Kimmi being the strong, composed one, and Maurice portraying himself as the career-driven, family-first husband. However, as time went on, the entire dynamic began to appear one-sided, and viewers began to notice despite Kimmi always keeping things together, she was managing the home, assisting Maurice with co-parenting, caring for her own child, encouraging his aspirations, and still being there for everyone else. In the meantime, Maurice was frequently lost in his own world, whether it was pursuing his legal career or mentoring his son, or simply moving on with his own plans. He seldom ever seemed to stop to consider Kimmi's needs, and when she did, it seemed as though she had to justify her feelings to be heard.
And before you get on social media, TV, YouTube, talking about what you think you know, maybe reach out to the people that you're about to talk about and ask maybe if it's true or not, because it can land you in trouble when you speak of people.
Let's go back in time and dissect from the beginning. Maurice and Kimmi were viewed as the mature couple on Love and Marriage Huntsville. They weren't out here arguing all the time. Maurice Scott is now openly pleading for Kimmi to return, but is this genuine regret or just damage control? Dragging each other before the cameras, at least not initially. They exuded a serene, mature energy, with Kimmi being the strong, composed one, and Maurice portraying himself as the career-driven, family-first husband. However, as time went on, the entire dynamic began to appear one-sided, and viewers began to notice that despite Kimmi always keeping things together, she was managing the home, assisting Maurice with co-parenting, caring for her child, encouraging his aspirations, and still being there for everyone else. In the meantime, Maurice was frequently lost in his own world, whether it was pursuing his legal career or mentoring his son, or simply moving on with his own plans. He seldom ever seemed to stop to consider Kimmi's needs, and when she did, it seemed as though she had to justify her feelings to be heard.
This is all the reason, but Truity has really done an amazing thing for Miss Black Titanic, and I appreciate that. And it's always good to see creators supporting other creators. But child, y'all going on there listen to this, because this right here is the clown of the year.
After a while, Kimmi gently back and stopped responding in the same manner as before. She also stopped checking in, showing up, and covering his emotional blind spots. We were having late-night calls when Maurice began to blow up her phone. Lengthy voicemails, arbitrary texts. Searches reveal that it wasn't just "I miss you" sentiment. When he said, "Just talk to me," and even when unexpected pop-ups appeared at her location, it was desperation, as if he understood too late that the mental safety net she always provided him was gone. Maurice was phoning, according to an insider. Kimmi supposedly had to set limits, ordering him to stop turning up without warning after common friends and relatives urged them to simply tell her to talk to me. However, the true shock came when a leaked voicemail surfaced and was posted on a gossip blog late one night, and the video had viewers trembling. When Maurice begs Kimmi, his voice is raw, weak, and obviously sad. He says things like, "I know I didn't show up the way you needed, but I never stopped loving you. And if leaving is what you require in order to recover." Fans were divided. Some felt sorry for him, stating, "It takes real vulnerability to admit when you failed someone emotionally. I'll respect that, but please just talk to me again." Others didn't believe it. They referred to it as damage control, highlighting his lack of communication during her health crisis, and claiming that this was all because Kimmi had the strength to leave before her unexpected Instagram live outburst. Looking frightened, Maurice went live and claimed he wasn't doing it for the cameras, but because sometimes you realize what you have after it's gone. He acknowledged that he wasn't always able to express his feelings, and that he noticed how much Kimmi cared for them both when he watched her leave. Information regarding the breakup. However, he did state, "I certainly didn't earn her silence, and I certainly didn't deserve her grace." And just when you thought Maurice could get any more vulnerable, he produced a ring and a letter that drove the internet into a frenzy. Tailspin, during the same live, Maurice revealed several lines from a handwritten letter he claimed to have written the night Kimmi left. But he didn't read it all. One of them said, "I thought being strong meant holding things together. But maybe real strength is claiming I was mistaken before you depart." In addition, he disclosed that he had purchased a new ring for her as a sign of beginning anew without the burden of previous patterns. Then, in the most shocking revelation, he proposed to leave love. And marriage Huntsville completely on the spot, he replied, "I'd trade visibility for peace with her in a second if the cameras were a part of the problem, if public life added pressure to their marriage." Meanwhile, Kimmi didn't reply to the live stream, didn't say anything outright, and didn't contribute to the online emotional uproar. But a few days later, she shared a silent Instagram story with simply a picture of a cup of tea and the caption, "Peace feels different when you earn it." Then came the lunch sighting, where fans saw Kimmi and Maurice eating lunch together at a quiet location in Huntsville. However, just as supporters were beginning to hope for a reunion, a woman appeared with receipts, which drastically changed the course of events.
Nobody knows what I did when I left, and nobody knows what he did with me.
Enter Shayla, a name no one anticipated, and Maurice most definitely didn't anticipate her approaching him with all the evidence to support her allegations. A purported mistress named Shayla revealed what she called the truth. Several images of voice notes and letters that suggested Maurice was unfaithful during the rough period in his marriage. In reference to his emotional struggles, Maurice is seen explaining to Shayla how tough things were at home. Maurice supposedly tells Shayla, "I'm stuck between the woman I love and a life I'm not ready to leave behind," in a message about his troubles with Kimmi and how he could never be himself. The tone makes it obvious that he is playing the victim. And then there is the voice note, which is a 3-minute tape of Maurice laughing and whispering into the phone about a recent escape he had with Shayla. When people began piecing together that while Maurice was proclaiming his love for Kimmi, it raised suspicions because the chat aligns with some of his public amorous gestures toward her, including the large apology letter and ring surprise. Shayla, who stated she would rather not come forward, said her motivation was straightforward. "I'm revealing the reality behind his performance." She explained how Maurice was supposedly having a full-fledged affair with Kimmi on social media, would portray Maurice as the ideal grieving husband, but he allegedly lived a different reality with her. The timeline becomes more jumbled when you consider the dates of Maurice's public apologies and Shayla's allegations that he's messaging Shayla about missing her and wanting they could go away together while also sending love letters to Kimmi.
Didn't see. However, in the moment that I acted, I was acting to protect the situation, protect my brother from.
With a very standard PR ploy, Maurice quickly took to social media. His team released a statement denouncing Shayla's charges as untrue and misleading, claiming that they were made by a resentful individual seeking attention. Maurice himself posted something on Instagram in which he called the scenario regrettable, but denied any wrongdoing. He took care to highlight his love for Kimmi and stated that he is focused on growth and healing, and that he hopes they can resolve their differences in private. However, Shayla didn't simply show up with, "She has been," characterized as someone who isn't scared to speak up and has been connected to other high-profile issues in the past. She also shared a few social media stories showing her with Maurice at specific times, which lends credibility to her claims. Moments that go counter to his claims of being married. Focused, Kimmi hasn't specifically disparaged Maurice, but she hasn't stood up for him either. Some claim that her quiet says volumes, as though she's allowing Maurice to hang himself with his own behavior. According to insiders close to Kimmi, she's emotionally checked out, and there have even been rumors that her quiet could imply the marriage is permanently gone. They think she's finished attempting to mend a relationship in which she's been emotionally abandoned. So now it's a difficult reality to accept, but when you consider the emotional toll Kimmi took, it's evident that occasionally men can truly change after losing the one woman who held them down. Or is Maurice simply lamenting the image rather than the lady he previously took for granted? Since the reunion season is quickly approaching, We would like to know if you believe Maurice is truly sorry, or if he is merely sorry he was discovered. People don't change until everything they've been taking for granted is gone. Corner, you shouldn't be shocked if Kimmi speaks next.